Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you today with an absolutely beautiful action figure set. Today, we are going over the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, The Flash, and Earth -2 Red Death multi-pack. And I'm so excited to finally have this, y'all. If you want to pick this up, I have not seen it in stores yet, but most of the McFarlane stuff has been dropping at Walmart first. I checked the regular online places, nowhere to be found. So at this point, I would suggest checking with your local comic shop, see if they can order it for you. If you don't have an LCS in your community, the route that I went is I pre-ordered it on Amazon, and it came relatively early. So it's on sale now on Amazon, so make sure to check that out. Figures look beautiful. I like that this actually comes with like a little prop stand that is really cool and very much welcomed. I'm glad I waited because they released a Flash by himself, and I'm glad I waited because this is basically the same Flash, but now you get an awesome figure here. And you get that great DC Multiverse logo here. It says The Flash and Batman Earth -52, which is the Red Death. On the top, not much to see here, just the top of the figures. Come around to the side, same thing, Flash and the Batman Earth -52. Cool DC Multiverse thing there. And then you get these really cool covers. This is from the Flash #1 Rebirth that came out just a few years ago, 2016, according to the box. And then I like how this almost looks like a comparison here. This is the Batman, the Red Death #1 from 2017. Love the artwork. Beautiful covers here. And then you see the figures from the wave that you can want to get for this. So I'll make sure to pause it. We can get a close-up on that. And then you flip it back around here. And again, I really appreciate this. So if it's hanging somewhere, you can at least see it without having to dig through all the figures. Come back around to the front, you see your beautiful figures there. On the bottom, all the legal mumbo jumbo, no one cares. But what we do care about, is this multi-pack actually awesome or not? So let's get these two speedsters out of the packaging and get a closer look at them. And here's the Red Death and the Flash out of their packaging. And these figures are absolutely beautiful. I remember when I saw the product shots for them, I was like, these could be cool, but you never know. But now that I finally have it in my hands, I've gotten them out and I've messed with them a little bit. Y'all, this is definitely a set that you want to pick up, especially if you're a big fan of metal like I was. It's just interesting to see what would happen if Batman gave into his fears and insecurities, just like with this one where he was able to take over the Speed Force to try to take out the Flash on Earth -52. Yeah, very well sculpted. I love the way the Flash looks, love the way the Red Death looks, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But of course, we just had to put them on the spinner and just gush and appreciate that what McFarlane Toys has been doing thus far. He has been breaking the mold and just been going leaps and bounds since that first wave where everyone was just kind of like, oh boy, what are we in for now? So with that said, let's get these two Scarlet Speedsters off the stand and get a closer look at them. Now, before we get into these awesome figures or the fancy accessories, let's do some backstory on both these characters to just kind of put it in perspective. Now, the first appearance of Barry Allen, the Flash, was showcase #4 in 1965. Now, Barry is not the original Flash per se. The first Flash was Jay Garrick, but here's the thing though, is Jay Garrick was part of the Justice Society of America. That's, I think, Earth 2. Let me know down in the comments. But yeah, it's a whole nother thing that I don't want to get into, and how DC had to merge multiverses together to bring the JSA and the JLA together. That was a big hoopla. But eventually they do become one cohesive universe. But in the main prime universe, Earth 0, that Barry Allen was the first, to be fair. Kind of like how Hal Jordan wasn't necessarily the first Green Lantern, it was Alan Scott. Yeah, lots of backstory there. Now, tragically, in the 80s, Barry died in Crisis on Infinite Earths #8, which was November 1985. That's when Wally West took over being the Flash. You know, he's part of the Teen Titans. He was he was the Kid Flash. And they kind of moved him up in the ranks, which was a really kind of cool way. But everyone was really excited when Jeff Johns took over the Flash and did Flash Rebirth #1, which was in June 2009. And Barry himself was kind of the primary one that was responsible for mucking up the universe when they did the Flashpoint. I mean, if you haven't read Flashpoint, definitely something you guys want to check out. It's an interesting story in and of itself without having to really worry about all the new 52 stuff moving forward. And then, you jump into the Rebirth, which is where we get this design for Barry. And was it Rebirth? Yeah, during Rebirth, that's when Scott Snyder introduced Metal. And this is where we get the Red Death. His first cameo appearance is Dark Days in the Casting #1 from September 2017. And we did a review on his first appearance, which is Batman the Red Death #1, which is an excellent read. So definitely check it out. I'll make sure to leave a card up here somewhere for you fancy cats to click and check it out. Now, that is kind of a quick backstory. Lots to read, lots to love about these characters. So let's talk about the accessories. Now on the box, which I'll make sure to throw up here, you guys can check it out. And you can see that there doesn't look like a whole lot on there. And with that said, I wish they would have given Barry some power effects, like both of them, kind of like how when they released Flash by himself, their McFarlane Toys, how he had all these little lightning bolts he came with, which I think this is the same figure. So I wish they would have given him the same lightning effects and the same thing for the Red Death. Now, standard, they both got stands, which I really like that DC imprint on there. That looks really, really nice. Now, the one thing, because I do photography, that I'm really thankful that they give you is they give you a Mr. Hanky. No, I'm just kidding. It's a stone stand. You can see that there's pegs for both of them to make it look like they're running and whatnot. So I like that. Lots of nice, light browns, dark brown brushing in there. Very beautiful piece. I like all the cracks to make it look legit, even though it's hollowed out. But yeah, that's probably my favorite part of what comes with these characters, because I always like that you can always throw these in a shot and get some really neat ideas that way. Now, the other thing is both characters come with cards, as you saw in the box. I'll try to get those out so you guys can see them here and get a pause on it. So I will do my best not to destroy the box in the process. Now, with that said, let's talk about the paint apps on these wonderful figures. So let's start with Mr. Allen here. Now, on his face, it took me a little while to warm up to this look, because he looks a little punch drunk, like, hey, yo, Adrian, I'm not punch drunk at all. And he's got something on his face. There we go. But I like the attention to detail they did on the eyes. That squint there really kind of kills me just a little bit, because it literally looks like someone just went, oh my eye! So yeah, that's probably my only thing. The grimace is okay because he's going up against the Red Death, so we're not really needing a smiling Barry. But yeah, the face, really nice. I like how they got the gums in there and the cheeks and the lips. The teeth are all gritted. I like the line work on the cheeks here, so you can kind of see him snarling. And then, of course, one thing I like is because a lot of these heroes wear masks, so I like that they actually put some indentions in the cap here so that it looks like you can see where he's kind of grinning, or how when you make facial expressions, how your eyebrows kind of go with it. So I'm glad that they added that. I really like the lightning bolts that go all the way around the head and attach. Well, they don't attach, but I like how it kind of ends in a lightning bolt there. Same thing on the head, so it kind of brings everything into a cohesive whole. Which, let me back this up and get a better focus, because he keeps, there we go, get some depth of field going on. Now, I like his lightning bolts on his ears. It took me a minute to warm up to him, but I like how they're kind of long and elongated, is the word I'm looking for. Zoom, 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 because that's the Flash, gone in a minute. Gone in a flash, pun. So, beautiful work on the head all around. I like the little bit of line work there. That's nice. As I said, the face is gorgeous. Back of it, again, I like the lightning bolts, how they both start and end, both on the back of the head and on the front of the head. I like the line work on the shoulders, because that's one thing I noticed about Rebirth, is they gave a lot of the characters lots of lines. I don't know what that's about, but it looks neat nonetheless. Kind of makes the Flash thing here look like a chess piece, which is okay. Hole for whatever. Because this isn't Marvel Legends, this can't be the Bucky Cat mold. But anyway, I like it looks kind of like armor in a sense, is what I kind of like about it. I like the gloves. I love all the lightning work going on here with that yellow. Just really pops very well with that scarlet red. Just awesome all the way around. Same thing, you get that line work all the way down the legs, back, but good stuff all around. Yeah, those lightning bolts. And I like how it kind of goes in the show to differentiate it from the rest of it, to make it look like it is a glove, so it doesn't look like all one piece like you would get with like original toys where they didn't really care a whole lot about detail. I like the boots. Oh, I lost him. As you can kind of see, I like all the line work there on the boots. I think that looks really nice. So, good work. I like the face. The eyes are just a little, at least the nose looks good. But that eyeball right there, I wish they wouldn't have done that, because it really looks like someone punched him, and he looks more like a Rocky Balboa boxer. So it's just kind of, it is what it is. Now the Red Death. This Mamma Jamma I like. I like how the bat symbol here kind of looks like it's raised up off the chest. I like that they added the lightning bolt, subtly. Maybe some yellow, but it wasn't part of the comic thing, so comic accurate. The same thing with the face, even though it looks like he's wearing like a baseball helmet, and that's okay. I like the ears. I like that silver. That really adds niceness to this really dark maroon red. Same thing here, where you kind of get this light red for highlights, and then again this kind of more maroon or dark blood, whatever you want to call it. He reminds me like one of the bad guys from Oblivion. I can't remember what the guards are, where you get that armor. Daedric. Kind of reminds me of a Daedric. There it is. I like these spikes just protruding out, because everything just looks sleek and fast, and just really adds to it, especially the way these spikes move inward. It's like everything leads the eye, and that's how art works, is it leads your eye. I love the, what do you call it, the layering or tiling, whatever you want to call it, on the gloves. Same here. I think that'd been kind of neat if those were spikes, but nonetheless, this reminds me of how you make yourself aerodynamic, you know what I mean? I like this here. You would not want to get kicked in the face with those, because Batman doesn't take no poop from nobody. I like the knee pads. I like how it does it, because it kind of helps hide the joint. Really kind of makes it nice and make it look more natural instead of, yeah. The face, I really like this face. Those blood red eyes. You can kind of see the nose. Just great work overall. I think this is a wonderful piece. I'm glad they released it as a 2-pack. And again, I don't know what those holes are for. It's driving me nuts. But I like how these spikes here, they go whoop. And let me get another focus, because he's deciding to fall out of, there we go. See how everything just kind of leads downward. And I like that they don't, it'll kind of stop on the back, but it's not enough to make it look like, oh, I don't care, I'm just stopping. Everything, the color, the paint apps just really flow. It doesn't look like they stopped anywhere, so you can't tell any differentiation or gradation variance. Again, like with the cowl to show emotion, I like how they kind of put it in the cowl. Really helps to add that facial anger, I want the Speed Force, Barry Allen, give it to me. Yeah, definitely check out that comic review, guys. I loved that book. The Red Death was the comic that got me in the metal. So yeah, I'm very thankful to have this figure. Oh, look at that line work there and all those little spikes. Those little attention to details like that. Oh yeah, oh, I got little fuzzies on him. Ooh, no fuzzies on the Batman. I'll get that off later, whatever. But yeah, those little attention to details, minus fuzz, just really make the figure pop. So I'm already super excited about these characters. I think they both look absolutely beautiful. Articulation-wise, they're really well articulated, but there are some things, just like with the rest of this McFarlane line. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We'll start with Barry. Let's go ahead and put the Red Death off to the side for the moment. Now, for the head, he can look down pretty good. And he is on the head knocker, rocker knocker, whatever you want to call it. And you can kind of get him to look about that much, which I wish you can get, because there should be no reason that he can't look up any more than that. You know what I mean? No matter how you try to play with it. So, maybe you guys can get him to look up further. But just with what I'm doing, that's all I can get. Head does turn. Boop. Boop. And because he's on that peg, you know, you can kind of get a going on there, so that's good. Arms do spin 360, so that's good. Arms can go out that much, and then as I always say, if you get that peg, twist it, same effect there. So good stuff. Double jointed elbows. Oh, thank God. Now, just like with all the rest of the McFarlane toys right now, and with the old like Marvel Legends Toy Biz, hate this ball joint so much. The reason being is because it moves independently. So if you want him to do something like that, you have to grab a hold of the peg and make sure that that's lined up with where you want it. And sometimes that can really chap your hide. But as you can see, you can get it to go that high, or that high down, or that far low down, whatever. So you get a good range of motion there. And they do spin 360. Again, you have to be careful with that joint, that ball joint, because it's so frustrating. And then what's really nice about these flash ones, I have not noticed on any others, is they do have a little bit of a butterfly joint in there. So you can kind of get a little bit more body range of motion. You can kind of see it there. So that's kind of neat. Now, the ab, this is kind of where it kind of starts to be like, rah. So he can go down about that much, and you can get him further down because he moves independently here and here. So on the ab itself, that far, and then you take this and push it down. So about that far down. And see, look how far back he can go. So why can't he go down that far forward? So, I mean, I know they're running characters, so that kind of helps to get that effect. But still, it's like it'd be nice to have it on both. And because of this, you know, you can kind of get that nice hula hoop going on right there on the diaphragm, ab, whatever you want to call it. Legs can go out that much, can kick out that far, and about that far. And then because of the socket wrench joint, or whatever you want to call it there, double jointed knees, yay. I'm so thankful for that. And one thing I do want to stress to you guys, because, you know, I think all of us notice that when we take the figures out of the box, how their joints are kind of stiff. Warm your figures up just a little bit, not enough to melt them, but it helps so you don't bust them when you get them out of the packaging. See, I can kind of start to see a little bit of wear on mine right here. So for me, for example, I use a space heater, and that's kind of how I'm able to warp some of my weapons and whatnot to get them to look better. Or other people have suggested really, really warm water just to get the joints loosened up so you don't have to worry about them busting. Now his feet can go that high up, that far down. And then again, like I've said with all these McFarlane figures, I'm glad that this foot joint, see, I need to loosen that foot up just a little bit. But it looks natural. It doesn't, like on the other ones, they looked like clown feet to an extent. So I'm glad that this little foot thing here is starting to look more natural. And then he does have a little bit of an ankle pivot, not a whole lot like the Legends, sadly, but enough that you can get an idea on the foot. So that's Barry's articulation. Now let's do the Red Death's. And his is kind of the same. You can get him to look up. Again, he has that head knocking action. So you can get about that high. And he looks down really well. Downward, kind of has that pivot. Can go that way. Can go that way. Can go up. And then if you take the thing, so you can go up that high and still get a nice effect there. So that's good. And like with Barry, double jointed elbows. Looks like he's singing. Okay, we're done. Hey, I have to crack myself up. And the one thing on Barry that they do have, I forgot, is of course the upper bicep swivel. So this one, it's a little harder because of his spikes, but they can go 360 if you play with them. So you got that going on. Wrists. I've already lined up my ball joints, so go up that much, down that much, so we're good there. And they do spin 360. Torso, can kind of, you have to play with it a little bit. Just don't break it, because that's how comfortable I feel twisting them that way. and about that much. That way, Barry's is kind of the same way. I forgot to mention that. Legs, not as far as Barry's because of the metal things there. See how they stop? That kind of sucks. They should have made those a little bit smaller. Legs can go up about that much backwards. And then the same, double jointed knees. And again, see how you see that here? That's why I said I'm glad that they give you this knee pad so it looks a little more natural. Legs up that much, or foot, legs down that much, feet, bloop. Kind of get that funny look, which really does help. It really, really does. He has a better ankle pivot than Barry as well. So, in a nutshell, get my guys back up here and grab onto them because I don't want them to fall and I don't feel like trying to position them. That's the articulation. Not too bad, but you can kind of start to see where it goes a little bit off the rails and you're just kind of, come on. I do feel ultimately what's really kind of flubbing these figures, and McFarlane's dropping the balls, is they don't have the upper thigh cut or the boot cut. If they could give that to us, it'd be so great and give you more of a range of motion. So I wish and I hope that moving forward that they eventually learn to add that in. For comparison, here's the Dark Nights that we've gone over already. Here's Earth -44, the Murder Machine. Earth -32, the Dawnbreaker. Earth's -1, the Devastator, still my favorite. And then, of course, the Batman Who Laughs. And, of course, we have the 2-pack that we've just gone over, Earth -52 and Earth 0, Flash and the Red Death. And as you can see, I'm glad that they're keeping scaling in mind with this line, because the Devastator just mountainly just overshadows all these characters, where all the rest of them kind of have that 7-inch look to them. And then what I like is, even though they're 7 inches, you can still get away with scaling, either if you're posing just on a shelf or for photography. So like, let's say if we move, boom, boom. That's one thing you guys are going to get used to if you do figure reviews, is a lot of action figure falling. So we'll get Flash, and then we'll put the DC Jim Lee line, say Shaded series, try to say that 3 times fast, Batman. As you can see, he came out quite a few years ago, and you put him up against the Flash and the rest of his negative Earth counterparts, the scaling looks fine. So no matter what figures you guys pick up, as long as you kind of know how to play with depth of field, and you know you're just kind of aware of what figures you're getting, it's going to look fine. I mean, look at how great all these action figures look next to one another. These are going to be great for photography reasons, for posing on a shelf. It's just going to be fun on the bun, to quote Bender. Overall, these figures are absolutely phenomenal. Now, again, just like with all the metal figures that we've gone over thus far, what's killing me is some of the articulation. So, for example, with the ones that we just went over here, the lack of the boot cut, the lack of the thigh cut, it really limits the range of motion that you can do in the legs. And I wish that McFarlane would learn from that, because if you're able to twist these just a little bit, they would look a little bit more natural. And when you're doing photography, again, just look a little more organic instead of a stiff look. And of course, the one thing I kind of wish he would stop too is the ball joints, how they move independently. So you have to like grab them and twist them. And that's what the old Toy Biz Marvel Legends that I disliked. I kind of wish they'd take a play from the Marvel Legends book and kind of look at how they did the articulation there, and how we're all relatively happy with how those work. So again, I can't damn them too much, because I really love how these came out. And as you can see, you can still get them in relatively good poses. So I definitely would give this a 9 out of 10 just for how beautiful it is. And they gave us a 2-pack. How awesome is that? You know what I'm saying? So if you guys have enjoyed these figures, please, first and foremost, check with your local comic shop and see if they can get this in stock for you. If not, like I said, I got this as a pre-order from Amazon, so you may want to go that route, or just the secondary market, which, boy, good luck. I'll cross my fingers for you guys. And if you all have enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little Speed Force bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. come to the channel, and we love to hear your feedback and just have a dialogue with y'all down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So stand by, photo slideshow coming up next, and thank y'all so much for stopping by, and I hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.